It only takes one night to lose everything. For Daniel Harper, that night came in the rain. It was October 17th, 2016, a cold evening in the small town of Clearwater Ridge, the kind of town where the streetlights flicker on before sunset, and everyone knows when something isn't right. Daniel Harper used to be someone people respected. At 34 years old, he had steady work at the lumber mill on Pine Road. He had a wife, Elena, a daughter, Lily, just 6 years old, and a laugh that used to fill every room he walked into. But that laugh had been gone for months. It started small. A back injury at work, pain medication prescribed by the doctor just for a few weeks. Daniel told himself he was in control. He wasn't. By winter, the prescription had run out, but the need hadn't, and that's when everything began to shift. The house on Maple Street used to smell like cinnamon and fresh coffee. Now it smelled like silence. Elena noticed first, the late nights, the excuses, the way Daniel avoided eye contact. "Are you okay?" she asked one evening, standing in the kitchen doorway. Daniel didn't look up. "I'm fine." He wasn't. The addiction moved quietly at first. Then loudly savings disappeared. Bills piled up. Daniel started missing shifts. One Friday morning, his supervisor called him into the office. The blinds were half closed. The room felt heavy. "Daniel, we can't keep covering for you." That was the day he lost his job, but he didn't tell Elena, not yet. Weeks later, Lily found him asleep on the living room floor. She nudged him gently. "Daddy, why don't you smile anymore?" That question stayed with him longer than he expected, but not long enough to stop. By March, the house was tense. Arguments echoed through thin walls. Elena cried quietly at night. Daniel felt shame every time he looked at his daughter. But shame wasn't strong enough to break addiction. Then came the night everything almost ended. It was raining, hard. Daniel had taken more than he should have. He sat in his truck outside the closed grocery store on Elm Street. Hands trembling, vision blurred, his phone buzzed. It was Elena. He ignored it. Then it buzzed again and again. Finally, a voicemail. Her voice was shaking. "Daniel," Lily asked, "if you still love us." The rain kept falling. Inside the truck, Daniel felt something crack. Not his body, his denial. For the first time in months, he saw clearly. The reflection in the windshield wasn't the man he used to be. It was someone lost. He whispered something he hadn't said in years. "God, if you're still there, I need help." It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't eloquent. It was desperate. The next morning, Daniel walked into Grace Recovery Center on Hillcrest Avenue. He didn't look strong. He didn't look confident. He looked tired. The receptionist smiled gently. "You're not the first person to walk in here shaking," she said, "and you won't be the last to walk out stronger." Recovery wasn't instant. It was long mornings, cold sweats, counseling sessions, honest conversations. Elena visited once a week. At first, she kept her distance. Then one afternoon, she brought Lily. Daniel knelt down slowly. Lily hesitated, then wrapped her arms around his neck. "Are you smiling again, Daddy?" And this time, he was. Months passed. Daniel worked small jobs around town. Nothing glamorous, but honest. He attended meetings every Tuesday night. He spoke openly about his struggle, about the rain in the truck, about the voicemail. He didn't hide anymore. and slowly trust returned. Not all at once, but steadily. 2 years later, on that same October date, Daniel stood outside Grace Recovery Center. But this time, he wasn't checking in. He was speaking, sharing his story with men who looked just like he once did. Lost, ashamed, afraid. He ended his talk with simple words. Addiction told me I was alone, but God showed me I was never beyond redemption. Elena stood at the back of the room, Lily, now 8, holding her hand. And when Daniel stepped down from the podium, they were waiting, not with fear, but with pride. Addiction tried to take his home, his marriage, his identity. But redemption rebuilt what addiction destroyed, brick by brick, moment by moment, prayer by prayer. If you are watching this right now, and you feel trapped, ashamed, too far gone, listen carefully. Your story is not over. Rock bottom is not the end. It's the place where truth begins. And sometimes, the prayer that changes everything is the one whispered in the rain. God restores, God rebuilds, and no life is too broken to be rewritten. If this story touched you, subscribe to Faith Tales TV. There are more stories of hope ahead.